Well, the Avs aren't in round two, but there's still some interesting matchups. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We got Biggie and Rudo coming from you remote today. Doesn't change the disappointment that is the end of the Avs season. We now know we'll hear from McFarland and Sakic tomorrow, so we can talk about that tomorrow. But round two does start today. There are 4 matchups to talk about. We're going to get into all of them. I actually do think we're in for a couple of good matchups in this series. I don't think we're in for maybe a couple of not so good matchups, but we'll get into those too. I don't know what the order the graphics are in. Which one do you want to start with?
We can start with whatever you want.
All right, let's just start with the newest one then. Let's go St. Louis, Winnipeg, or not. It's Winnipeg, Dallas. St. Louis, Winnipeg winning the double overtime last night. Winnipeg wins. They tie the game with 3 seconds left in regulation to win it in double overtime. That series was 2 teams that aren't as good as Dallas. That's basically the long and the short of this conversation to me, E. But I'm not sure how you feel about this matchup. Who do you think has the edge?
Feel the same way, buddy. I mean, it's fresh. Obviously Dallas. That I've never been my favorite team. But really impressed in round one. Lots of resiliency, obviously. We just got to see them for 7 games. Getting some guys back sounds like. Not that it affected them. Sometimes you play even better, when you're missing some guys to a certain extent. So I'm talking about Robertson. I'm talking about Heiskanen. I do believe Dallas is so much more ahead of how can I say it, like playoff Winnipeg, right? Winnipeg was obviously the regular season champs, and they've done well, but again, they've struggled, and they needed a miracle. That was a miracle they got last night. Alan Bucks have not played well. It's hard to do when your goalie's in the 800s. It's just hard to do. I expect Dallas to really, again, we're biased because it's an Avalanche podcast, but we said it before the series started. Whoever comes out of this one, meaning Dallas and Colorado, should have the path to get out of the Western Conference. And I sincerely believe that. I really thought the Avalanche were going to be the ones coming out of the West. Therefore, I believe in the Dallas Stars right now because they did beat the Avalanche that I think were built different, built for this. Didn't happen. But I do agree that Dallas is going to be tough to beat right now.
For 2 teams that went 7 games in round 1, I think there's a lot more reason for optimism around Dallas as opposed to a Winnipeg team. Like you said, Winnipeg needed a miracle in Game 7. And even when it came down to it, the Blues had, 7-8 shots through both overtimes. It's not like he got super tested. During that, they were down 3-1 because Hellebuck couldn't make a save in that game, like every other game in the series. None of Connor Hellebuck's problems are fixed. The Jets won the series anyway, barely. But your goalie can't be your worst player, and you can't expect to go far in the playoffs. Like, those 2 things just do not jive together in any universe. I don't know how healthy Scheifele is. We'll see if he can come back or not in this series. I think you could maybe expect Miro to be back at some point in this series.
Yeah.
Robertson won't be, but Dallas seems to be trending up, whereas Winnipeg, I mean, they won the series, but it doesn't really feel like they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Again, what I'm saying about Dallas, I mean, feeling good about themselves, meaning the way they beat a very good Avalanche team, and the way they beat them in that Game 7, being down again. What they say today? 103 years. It happened 2 or 3 times. That
3 times in 106 years. Yeah,
you saw it twice in 48 hours. So it's very not normal what we saw. We weren't feeling too good after the Avalanche game when the buzzer ended. I still don't feel good. I still feel shocked.
Yep.
Still feel, and again, the players, manager, everyone, fans, everyone's in the same boat. But for Dallas, what a booster that is. So I do believe they'll carry that over. Now, same thing can be said about Winnipeg. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like the way they came back, and it's even more dramatic than Dallas. And I know it's the St. Louis Blues, and no offense to the St. Louis Blues, Colorado Avalanche are, probably a more dangerous team than the St. Louis Blues. But still, they scored 2 and 6-on-5 extra attacker in a minute and a half, whatever it was, minute 37. Yeah. That's ridiculous. And then you manage not to give a major or many scoring chances in overtime because your goalie's struggling. Don't think they don't know. Everyone knows. The whole world knows he's struggling. And they go get one for him. I mean, he was the MVP for the season. He's the MVP. He's the best goalie in the league for the regular season. He just has struggled in playoffs the last few years, including against the Avs last year and this year. So a lot can be said for Winnipeg to feel good about their game, too, meaning that it gives you wings when you come back like that. But Dallas is a bigger beast. And again, St. Louis hadn't lost at home in 14 games. St. Louis was unbelievable down the stretch. I mean, they just, again, when something like this happens, you run out of steam, right? I mean, they ran out of steam, obviously, in the last minute. They've been playing playoff hockey for 3 months. So, credit to the Jets. They can take that. But I do believe now that both of them have done it, I think the advantage is to the Stars. I mean, just the way they're built and the way they, it looks like, man, better than Hellebuck in the net right now, and that starts right there.
If you're going off the round 1 stats, Andrew was the best goalie in the playoffs in round 1, and Hellebuck was the worst goalie in the playoffs in round 1. That alone should be the difference.
So just start with that, and it gives you an advantage right away. I'm not talking about the regular season in the last 5 years. Like, I get it, But Otter's playing well, and Hellebuck's struggling.
There's a universe where Hellebuck gets his head on straight and all of a sudden figures it out and plays like he did in the regular season, and then Jets have a very legitimate chance if they aren't the favorites. But the way Hellebuck is playing, it's just impossible for me to put Winnipeg as the favorite. I want to ask you about an X factor in this series that isn't goaltending, though. You got to give me something else, because we all know the goaltending is really what the big conversation is here. But what else you got that could decide this series?
Well, I'm going to go with 2 guys I've been impressed with, for example, and I'm going to say not the big dogs, not goaltending, not even special teams. I'm going to go, I'll make it fun for you. I'm going to go Perfetti versus Wyatt Johnson. For me, they're 2 high-profile guys, clutch. They've been clutch for their team. Well, Perfetti. Johnson, it's been a few years now. He was deadly against the Avalanche last year, but I'm going to say the secondary guys like that are going to be very important, and boy, both of them have come out with some incredible Game 7s right now for their respective teams. And, maybe that's where the thing lays. If Hellebuck finds his way, well, Otter's just as good, or whatever you want to call that. And then, Scheifele, is he playing? Well, we don't know about Robertson, right? Same thing. And, of course, Heiskanen, and now we know that, what's his name, Morrissey got hurt yesterday, right? Only played a couple minutes. I don't know to what extent. I wasn't really...
Yeah, didn't finish the game.
Yeah, I don't know to what extent he's out. But so, somewhere, somehow, they're all canceling each other out. And I think, what about a guy like... I know he had a tough play on one of the goals against, but the guy with the mullet that cut his hair now, 81 there, freaking frack, is he good when the time comes? So, man, Kyle Connor, he's a good player. You know what I mean? And that's wow. He's a good player.
Why does Kyle Connor have the ugliest man in the league tag? I don't, he's not pretty, but he ain't that ugly.
No, but he should have kept his mullet, because it's like,
now
he's got short hair. He looks good with the mullet. He's the best mullet in the league. So that would be my X factor, probably.
I think that's fair. I think that's a decent shout. On Dallas's side, I do think Thomas Harley is a pretty big X factor. We saw at times in the Avs series he got a little bit exposed. You talked about, especially with Heiskanen out, that kid is playing big minutes for that Dallas team. If he can keep it solid, if he can at least survive until Heiskanen can pick up a good amount of that slack, I think Dallas looks pretty good. If that defense starts to crack, I mean, we saw at times guys like Bichel and Lyubushkin struggled against the Avs. So that could be a weakness of theirs if Ottinger can't bail out that defense at times. I think they'll take care of it. But if I'm looking for ways for Winnipeg to win the series, I think that's one of them. Predictions for this series. I don't think there are a lot of people picking Winnipeg, but we all picked Dallas. You and AJ in 5, myself in 6. It's hard to see a path to success for Winnipeg, if I'm honest about it. But I don't know. Why 5? Why not a sweep? Why not closer, E?
Honestly, was so impressed with the whiteout, like in Winnipeg. You know, I mean, I know it's been going on forever, but it seemed electric yesterday. Why wouldn't it be? You know, I mean, some people call it the best day of their lives. I mean, like, you know, we're in the stands. I get it. So I respect that. So I'm giving them 1 there. You know what I mean? Like, giving them 1 because of how fantastic they've been and for their city and their. That's why I just can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, Dallas is. I don't know. I'm just so impressed by Dallas right now. Maybe it's just so fresh. Obviously, I haven't seen every shift of that series against the Avalanche. Yep. So that's kind of why I'm picking Dallas, and that's why I'm saying not even 4. I'm saying 5, just because of Winnipeg was impressive as well. You know what I mean? Because of they fought and they struggled on the road, but at home, I think Dallas is more powerful than St. Louis coming into the whiteout. So I'm going to give them 1, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is bias having watched every single second of the Avs Stars series, but I pretty much watched all the Jets Blues series too.
Yeah,
Dallas just has that ability to drag you down into the mud, right? They know how to sludge it up. They know how to stop you. They know how to prevent it. And yeah, the Avs broke through that in a couple of games, but we saw pretty repeatedly Dallas's ability to keep themselves in close games. If it was a close game, Dallas was going to hunt you. And Winnipeg, I just didn't see that as much from them. You watch games get out of hand in ways that they probably shouldn't have for Winnipeg. It didn't take some of the crazy bounces the Avs got in some of those games. It didn't take some of the all-world plays. It was just Hellebuck couldn't do it, or their defense fell apart on them. It's the playoffs. Anything could happen. If Winnipeg won the series in 5, it wouldn't blow me away, but I'm definitely taking Dallas as the favorite. So,
yeah, and you're right about. I mean, I think what happened is during the season, Hellebuck was so good. I do believe they weren't a team that giving up 12 shots a night. I mean, they give up some stuff, and Hellebuck was just always there to clean up the mess.
Yeah,
where I think Dallas don't give up that much. Kind of like the Avalanche, they don't give up that much, man. We know that, but I don't think that. I think Otter's been good. You know what I mean? For the most part. But not spectacular like Hellebuck's been during the regular season. It's just in the playoffs, it's been going through them. So not once, not twice, but many times. And that's why I don't think Jets are playing any different. I think they're just not getting the save, right? And
they're built as a team for Hellebuck to play well, and he hasn't. And they got away with it for 1 round. Can they get away with it for 2? I don't know. All right.
And again, maybe he comes back and he plays awesome. I don't know. I don't know.
It's why there's a reason they play the games, right? But from what we've seen so far, it's hard not to pick Dallas. Okay, we do need to pay a few bills here, so let's make sure we're jumping over and doing that, as we are brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery, the official craft beer of DNVR. Go get yourself some. Of course, they have dozens of flavors all the time, but they're always rotating with the seasons, just at randomly whenever they get a new flavor. Go check one out if you like beer. I guarantee you they have a beer you're going to like. You can get it down at the DNVR bar, or you can always go online to breckbrew.com and use their Breck Beer Locator online there to find Breck Brew near you. They're available in all 50 states, so if you're here in the U.S., they should have some near you, whether it's the classic Avalanche Amber or any of their other options, Palisade Peach, another Colorado-specific one, but they also have a West Coast IPA, tons of different ones. They've got a Nuggets beer if you want to follow them through their playoff run, because, at least someone in Colorado is still in the playoffs. Go check them out. Again, breckbrew.com. You can also check their merch. It's a bunch of really cool stuff if you haven't seen them. Again, Breckenridge Brewery, the official craft beer of DNVR. Once you've had your beer, you've relaxed, sometimes you got to make sure the work gets done too. And that starts with building quality flooring. Empire Today gets you $350 off new floors at empiretoday.com/DNVR, or make sure you're using that DNVR code with them. They're the best in the business, to be honest with you. You can go get with them. They will give you a free in-home estimate if you want them to come out to your house. You can do it online where you can measure out your room and you can see what the flooring will look like in your space. It's great all the way around. You can go to them and see all of their products. They only carry the best quality products to make sure you're getting the best stuff no matter what with Empire Today. Highly recommend you go check these guys out if you haven't. Again, the free in-home estimate, probably the best way to do it. You can actually see the flooring in your space with that. And you can get that $350 off at empiretoday.com/DNVR. Of course, terms and restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com for details. But schedule that free in-home estimate. You can go to that empiretoday.com/DNVR. Or, of course, you can always call 1-800-588-2300 Empire. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's move on to our next series. Let's just finish up the West. Let's just stay in the West as you end up with Vegas and Edmonton. I don't know that this series is all that interesting to me either. Look, Edmonton did manage to take down LA. They do a good job of taking advantage of an LA team that frankly fell apart, if we're being honest about it. You have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You have a chance, right? Those dudes could just score 1 billion points between the two of them and you might just win. You also have a starting goaltender of Calvin Pickard. Not really playoff caliber. And I love Calvin Pickard. He's one of my favorite Avs all time as a person, but we know his ability level at the NHL.
Why? Let's put it this way. Your management, and don't worry, they didn't build it that way, but you ask yourself, we have Connor McDavid, we have Leon Draisaitl, you just said it. Everybody in chat, everybody in the world knows, every fan knows it. Two of the top forwards in the National Hockey League. I mean, it's that simple. When you have that, nobody else has that. Nobody else has that. You can win any game. So you're looking at this and you're looking at your core, looking at everything. And say, well, our goaltender is Calvin Pickard. Same with you. I love Calvin Pickard. We were there. We drafted him. I love Calvin Pickard. But I wouldn't say that my core is built on Calvin Pickard being our guy in the net. Right? It's not. So they would be lying to tell you that's what they planned on. So With that said, does that mean it can't work? Well, it worked in the first round. I mean, for a little bit till they moved Skinner and he went in. Vegas, I think, is a different animal in my book than LA. LA, I think, self-imploded a little bit, right? With that call. That was a weird call. Vegas is well built. And shout out to my buddy Blakey that's stepped down today from the LA Kings, right? It's a tough job, just so you guys know. I mean, I know from firsthand watching my dad. It is a tough job. There's 32 in the world. People think that it's easy. It's not. It eats away at you, eats away at your life. And I can tell you for a fact that was mutually agreed upon. He didn't get fired. He didn't, it was, I think it's, was the right time for him. With that said, Vegas is, I'm going to use the Avs slogan, built different than the LA Kings. And,
didn't work out for the
No, but I was trying to say built different than the Kings. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough.
No, it had nothing to do with the Avs. I was just stealing the. But I tell you, it's going to be a different series. It's going to be. Man, oh man, Hayden Hill, like for me, is a
He's not
lot
been
like
good.
Stuart.
He's not been very
Yeah,
good.
exactly. It's a lot like Stuart Skinner for me. They're very similar. They can get hot. They're good goalies, National Hockey League goalies. But when it goes bad, it can be bad. And Hill hasn't been the greatest. Skinner was really bad. That's why Calvin went in the net, right? So, I mean, maybe that's where it's won. I don't know. Maybe that's where the Edmonton Oilers now are, you know, besides that one game, right, in Game 7 last year, they won,
Yeah.
so think about it. They won 4 out of 5 playoff rounds, with one losing in 7 in the finals with that goaltending. So, can it keep going? I think this is where it stops. I think this is where it stops for me.
Here's, look, I have 2 problems for Edmonton beyond just the goaltending issue. One, their defense is still a mess. There's still no Matthias Ekholm for them. That's a team that is going to struggle on the defensive side of the puck. They are objectively just outscoring their problems in these playoffs for the foreseeable future, which usually works for a while, but that usually runs out eventually. Now, maybe Aiden Hill has another bad series and they can do it. Their top guys can just score at will. But when I look at the depth of Vegas, it gets tough. Obviously, they have good high-end talent, Eichel, Hurdlestone on the back end, Pietrangelo and Theodore. Yeah, they have good high-end, not Connor McDavid level high-end, but very good high-end. But where Edmonton lacks a little bit that I think Vegas doesn't, you have guys like Riley Smith. You have guys like Will Carlson. You have guys like Ivan Barbashev. Even experienced guys like a Brandon Saad down in their depth. They just have so much of that when you look at Vegas. And Edmonton got some back, with Evander Kane and Corey Perry. They have some of that depth, but it just feels like Vegas has wave after wave after wave of guys that's going to come at them. And when you look at the shortcomings of that Edmonton team on defense and in goal, it's hard not to think that those waves are going to crash through eventually.
You're right, though. You touched on guys like, Evander Kane that did really well, actually. Right, he hadn't played all year, but you add that to it takes a little pressure off Zach Hyman too. You know what I mean, on the secondary tier. You're gonna say he scored 50. He should be no, I understand that, but I still put this guy kind of like a Val Latushka, secondary guys. And Bouchard, you're right. He's so enigmatic. Like, he's so good or so bad. Like, it's crazy, but he's so clutch. You know what I mean? Like, it's man, it's fun to watch if you're not that invested in the team, right? You know what I mean? Because it's, you don't know what you're going to get, but it can be high end, especially on the offensive zone. So you're right. Vegas built a little like on the back end, where I like their back end, always have, always will. They seem to be delivering at this time. But yeah, I think Vegas can play in the mud more. But you're right, Edmonton, you can't push them over. You know what I mean? Like, you can't push them over now that they have Kane and guys like that. Trent Frederick, he gets the game winning goal series, right?
Yep.
He's been hurt, obviously, since he came from Boston, but he's not a pushover. Not at all. He'll be right there, right in the mud with you. So, yeah, maybe they've added that. Maybe that can help. I don't think it's an easy series. I think it comes down to goaltending. I really do. They're built, in more like on the offense. The other one built more, 4 lines and 6 Ds kind of, even though they have Jack Eichel, which is a top end centerman in the NHL. But I do believe it comes down to goaltending, and you're going to say, you're picking Aiden Hill. Like, yeah, I'm going to pick Aiden Hill over Calvin, even though I really like Calvin. But I mean, that's where it comes down to for me. I think that Hill hasn't been the greatest, but I do believe that he'll be good enough where he's better than the goaltending of the Edmonton Oilers.
Sure. I think you're probably right in that specific case. Let's get to our predictions, though. Let's see exactly what we put in for Edmonton versus Vegas. We all pick Vegas. You and I going in 6. AJ taking the sweep on it.
Auburn.
Yeah. Again, there's a reason they play the games. Anything can happen. But when you look at how these two teams match up, it's hard to say with the injuries Edmonton has, with their problems in goal and on defense that Edmonton has. Yeah. It's hard to pick them. It really is hard to pick them from a non-biased standpoint. So Yeah.
I agree with you because that's 4-2, 4-2. Like I said, for me, that's Ekholm is a big factor. That's a big factor. He's so good in the playoffs in my book, and he can be dirty and
he's the defensive center of that team. They have a bunch of offensive defensemen around that guy, and he's not there.
I don't know. I mean, did they say anything? To be honest, my head's been so wrapped around Av stuff that
no, he's at least not expected to play this round. I don't know about if they get through it or whatever, but
yeah, it's not like he'll be there game 3. I don't think this guy's there. So, and combine that with the goaltending, and again, Aiden Hill is not my favorite, but he's won, and he did it. So, I think that's the difference over Calvin / Skinner, and the injury to Ekholm hurts a little bit in my book.
Same. Let me sidetrack us for a minute here. Should we read into the World Championships at all? Because I'm just saying, Sidney Crosby says he's going, and 10 minutes later, Nathan MacKinnon says he's going.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm down for it. You know that. I mean, if it happens. I mean, as you know, I keep track of Montreal just because out of habit. And same thing in Montreal right now. That's the big thing. Sidney Crosby's coming in to save the day. You know what I mean? Second line center behind Suzuki, and he's fixing all the problems, just like here. But I agree with you. I'll flip it on the other side. Let's dream that way because let's cross our fingers, right? That would be unbelievable. He's my idol. You know that. My post-playing days, that's my idol. Like for me, and the player and what he says. And so I love that. But shows you what Crosby's leadership is. Like, what I mean? Crosby's like, he makes people do things without even you. He's been doing this for years, like the training, and everybody follows him in the summer now. Like, what I mean? Like, he's a leader, and people just follow what he does. And so maybe we don't need to read too much into it. But, yeah, why not? Let's read into it because it could be a strong possibility. I'm not saying that it's never going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I really thought it might have happened. Remember we were talking about it?
I'm the non-believer on this being a thing that happens, but.
I mean, do I believe he's going somewhere? I do. I mean, let's talk about him for a second. I do believe he's going somewhere. So, I mean, I don't think he's staying there.
All I'm saying is if you're the Avs and Brock Nelson says, I want $8 million, well, Sidney Crosby's only $700K more than that. So why not take a shot at it, right? But
exactly. You know what I mean? So I know. So that's what it does. Yeah. I mean, so we'll see.
We'll see. Realistically, I don't know that it's reading into that is worth doing, but Nathan MacKinnon and Crosby are certainly buddies, and they certainly like playing together based on the World Cup, and now they'll both get to play together at the World Championships.
I agree.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. In fact, I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe these are how these types of conversations start, right? You play together, you find out you really like playing together, and Crosby wants to chase a cup. Maybe the Avs are an option.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we can move on from that. We do need to pay a few more bills here, so let's make sure we're doing that for you. As we are brought to you by the folks over at Toyota. They're the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche, and also us here at DNVR, because it might be the Avs off season, but we're still coming to you live 5 days a week. So make sure you're sticking with us and sticking with Toyota. Jump in with them. They've got a vehicle for everyone: trucks, SUVs, sedans, and everything in between. 17 different vehicles with all-wheel drive. Maybe you're going up into the mountains. Maybe you're just driving through bad weather, whatever it might be. Toyota has you covered there. They also have 16 different hybrid or electric vehicles, which is the most of anybody. So they've got you covered there. Even trucks, they've got hybrid trucks. So no matter what it is, Toyota has you fully covered. Make sure you're getting with Toyota, going out and visiting your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota, Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Toyota, let's go places. Once you got yourself in your Toyota, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Drive yourself on over to UC Health. UC Health just wants to make sure you're living like there is a tomorrow. They're an official healthcare partner of the Colorado Avalanche. They have a campus down out on the east side. My wife used to work there. Go check them out if you haven't. Of course, you can also go to uchealth.org where you can learn to live extraordinary. UC Health just here to take care of you. Make sure you're living your best life. Whatever problems you got, whether physical, mental, or otherwise, they have help for you. So go check them out, uchealth.org. Again, the official healthcare partner of the Colorado Avalanche. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's move into the East here. We got Toronto versus Florida. Toronto did take care of Ottawa in round 1 and 6. They didn't make it spicy like they like to do sometimes. Florida, however, kind of stomped Tampa. They kind of just took care of business in that series, and I tell you, Florida looks good again, man. They look like a team that knows what they're doing in the playoffs. Toronto obviously has a ton of high-end talent, but on the surface of it, what do you got from this series?
Oof. I mean, I'm big on knowing how to win. You know that. And I just, that is, I mean, they got the number one center that you look for, right? They got the goalie that's done it. They got the secondary guys that I call like the Reinhardts, and then obviously you got the biggest, agitator that also can put up 100 points in Kachuk. Now you add to the mix a Sam Bennett that's as mean as it can be out there and can play the game and he's a willing combatant and he's got to be there in the mud to make the big play at the right time in those crazy situations. And then you add the Rat Marchand, like that, so they can play any style you want. I mean, they really have it all. There's a reason they've been to the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years. There's a reason that this year they monitored their season. We all know that down the stretch with resting guys and trying to figure out. You still got to get the points to get in, but easier to get in the Eastern Conference this year, right? The amount of points than the Western Conference. So they were able to just kind of, wait and get the guys ready. We get the guys back. Because it takes a toll on you over a couple of years. And then all of a sudden they go play that first round and they made nothing out of Tampa in my book. I mean, it looked like nothing. Like, they don't get bothered. They go. They will bark at you. They will freaking bite you. They will score. They're smart. They're well coached. And they know how to win. So when I look at that, it's a little bit of everything that the Toronto Maple Leafs are not, right? I mean, in my book, meaning like they're more skilled, absolutely. Doesn't get better than that. Marner, Nylander, Matthews. Then again, it takes 7 against Ottawa. Why? Because, Matthews had a quiet series, until the last game, right? He only had they were all over him. He only has 1 goal in his last 15 games, whatever, in the playoffs, something like that. Again, I'm throwing numbers. The pressure is so different. Toronto's pressure, it's a market that's starved for playoff success. They are so hungry for it, where Florida's laid back, right? And they've had the success, and they leave them alone down there, and they don't win, then it's okay. What the Leafs, if they don't win, they're gonna get killed in the public place. They're gonna get killed in the media. So that adds a lot to it. I just feel that Florida's too well built and too deep for the high skilled of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now I think Stolar's had a good game. Now, do I think Stolar? It's kind of like Hayden Hill in my book. You know what I mean? Like, can he really do it? Like,
Yeah, I
don't
questions
know.
about Stolar's too.
You know what I mean? Like, he's 30 something, and he's always been a number 2, and everybody's always been wrong. Again, that's nothing wrong with. I tell you guys all the time, I love Wedgwood. Why? Because he's a real number 2. You know what I mean? So maybe Stolar's for the first time, he's a number 1, kind of, so to speak. But he played like 35 games. Not like, I know he got hurt, but there's Wall, and you know what I mean. And then all of a sudden, can he really carry the Maple Leafs? I don't know. We'll see. He was good in the first round until he wasn't. But you know what I mean, like a couple shots, and then I don't know. I mean, they certainly have firepower. If it gets played in the trenches, I take Florida any day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's my problem with this series. Don't get me wrong. Toronto rather has plenty of high end talent. Matthews, great high end talent. Nylander, great high end talent. Marner's having the best year of his career. But what happens when those dudes have to line up against Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart? Don't get me wrong. I think offensive ability, Toronto probably has more, but the top end of Florida is so sound and so solid. Barkov has spent the majority of his career shutting down other team superstars and still putting up points. Matthew Tkachuk is one of the biggest pests in the league. Super duper hard to play against. People, this is insane, but people are saying Reinhart should get Selke votes. And I don't believe that, but that is just a very, very hard line to play offense against. And then you look at down their lineup, it doesn't get better. They've got Sam Bennett. They've got a clutch guy in Carter Verhaeghe. Florida is just built so well, top to bottom. Like, Toronto has high-end talent, but Florida is the better team. On paper, Florida is the better team.
And props to the Leafs, Brad. Like, added, like, for example, in that key play in Game 7 there, you got, not your guy, but AJ's guy, Scott Laughton.
Who?
Is that your guy?
No, it's my guy. He's not been very good, to be honest. But.
No, but he makes a big block right there in Game 7 there. It was a huge block. And don't go. Yeah. Coach talked about that. Berube. Now, Berube's been there. Berube's brought a team to the finals and won. So he's been there. So I think he's a more suited coach for that group, than they've had before over the years. Now, if you're going to tell me which coach could get the Leafs over the hump, I would say Craig Berube. I think he's perfect for that group. I think he's perfect for that core. And again, I'm not in there. I don't know if they like each other or not, but I don't think it really matters. At the end of the day, I do believe that they respect each other. I'm sure they like each other. But I think it was the right call to get Craig Berube in there. That was the right call. So now, is it paying off maybe in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Yes, probably. Same thing with adding Carlo and adding Laughton, a little bit more, like, you know what I mean, like mud-type players. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. But Florida's just, wow, they're just a rocket.
Yep. Team's really good. They get Ekblad back again in Game 2. Gustav Forsling has developed into one of the premier shutdown D in the league, in my opinion. Team's just ridiculously strong when you look at Florida. I do think the one question mark is Bobrovsky. Always been a hot and cold type of goalie. If he goes cold at the wrong time, you might be in a little bit of trouble if you're Florida. On Toronto's side, I don't know. That Toronto is so deep into this core and so deep into who they are that at this point, it continues to be prove it. Okay, great. You got out of the first round for the second time in a decade. You beat a young Ottawa team that really had no business going anywhere in the playoffs. What do you do against a real team? What do you do against the defending Cup champs? Can Toronto step up and find that level to their game? And maybe there are some unsung heroes in Toronto's depth there that are about to make their mark. Maybe Scott Laughton figures out that offensive side finally. But we'll see. Right now, on the surface of it, I can't not pick Florida.
I got to pick Florida too. So, I mean, that's just me. You know what I mean? And again, fairly, like I said, fairly easily. I think they know. Again, you got to play the game that's in front of you. You can't control the bounces. You can't control everything. But they know that as battered as they've been, and they've been all the way through the last 2 years, winning series early can benefit them. And I think they know that.
Yep.
Look, I don't know how long their break was here, but some sort of a decent break, right? I mean, would they win in 5, correct? Tampa?
Florida, yeah, but they started really late, so.
But that's what I mean. And can you imagine if they would have started like 3 days before? Like, they would have
been a week break, yeah.
You're talking about a week break. That was my point. I do believe they feel that they need those breaks. And if they can do that, nobody goes in there trying to lose. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I think it's a big part of it.
when you look at the statistics, as our chat is talking about the analytics a little bit, objectively, Florida's the better team, like in every facet. Toronto played weaker competition and performed much worse, at least at 5-on-5. Florida played a tougher team and was better in nearly every category when it comes to comparing their statistics versus Toronto's. Now, maybe you want to talk about matchups or whatever. Okay, sure. I'm not going to go that deep into it. But mechanically, if you want to say Toronto has marginally higher end talent, I'd say fine. I'm not going to argue with you that maybe Matthews and Nylander are a little bit talented, more talented than a Barkov and a Tkachuk, but that does not mean Tkachuk and Barkov and those guys aren't extremely talented. And Florida is a significantly deeper hockey team, in my opinion. So, if Stellaris posts a 950, Toronto can win. If Bob Borowski posts an 880, Toronto can win. But that's true of any series, right? If the goalies go your way.
I mean, they don't stop a puck. There's nothing you can do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's any. You know what I mean? It's hard to win if your goalie doesn't stop a puck. So I don't believe that will be the case. I think it will be tight, and I think that's why it favors a little bit for me, Florida. You know what I mean? Because they've been there, they know how to, and they got the guys to play tight in the mud, like we're talking about the last 30 minutes. You know, so I do believe Florida. I believe in them. So.
Yep, me too. Let's get our predictions up there. Or did we already? I don't know. Maybe I missed them.
Yeah,
but
4-2, and AJ had
4-3 leads. Yeah. Yeah, I look. I just don't see this Florida team going down in this series. But if Leafs do it in 7, at least that's a great story. At least you have a cool storyline this year. I don't think the West storylines are particularly interesting. I guess if Winnipeg goes far, it's a team that's finally breaking through, but Dallas going deep isn't particularly interesting. Vegas and Edmonton aren't particularly interesting. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We have one more series to get to here. Carolina and Washington. Carolina, I don't want to offend New Jersey fans, but let's be honest. Carolina basically got the free pass in round 1. That New Jersey team was hampered by injury in a way that they just were not going to be able to be that competitive. Looks like Freddie Anderson ended up being fine. They had a little bit of a scare there with him, but looks like he's okay. Carolina is this team that is really good at making second round in conference finals. We know who they are. Washington, on the other hand, gets through Montreal. They've been one of the hottest teams in the league. A lot of people, including myself, feel like maybe they've been a little bit on the lucky side. Is this a good matchup, or do you think this one could be lopsided?
I'm the guy that always casts away Carolina. I just have been my whole life. I don't. I like Rod Brindamore. I like
just hate their towels. That's what it is.
Yeah, remember I told you that. Towels smell like fish. I mean, that stuck with me. I'm kidding. No, it's true, but that's not why I don't like them. I don't know why. I just think they lack, the power. That's why I was like, okay, the Mikko trade obviously didn't work out, but I'm saying, Mikko there and Gensel there last year didn't work. You know what I mean? They seem to work with the Seth Jarvises of the world. I mean, they're awesome players, not what I'm saying. But, Aho's their guy, gets 80 points a year, and they throw pucks on net. They play a certain way. He's got them, believing it's them against the world. Nobody wants to play here. We'll keep the guys. It's awesome. But I think Freddie, obviously, they extended him today, right, or yesterday. So he's always hurt. There's always something. So you never know what you're going to get there. But they've built themselves with the Aho and Jarvis and Shmetsnikov, and he gets the big hat trick there. And Ghost Despair, the Ghost, he goes in there and plays decent. I mean, if you like that type of player, right? And then Stankoven, that came from Dallas, is that guy. For me, it's like a Jarvis, and they're good players. You know what I mean? That you're gonna have to work to beat them. But do they scare me? No, they never have. You know what I mean? And I don't think they will. You're right about Jersey. It was a kind of a free. I mean, man, they didn't have the depth to overcome their injuries on D, and then obviously Jack Hughes, and you know what I mean. It just there's no way. There was no way. And those guys have played together for so long. They know how to play. They know how to get out of the first round. Was it Brendan Moore 7 years in a row gets out of the first round? I think with that team, I do believe
that sounds right.
Yeah. So now to get going deeper and deeper, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't a Washington fan. I wasn't a Washington believer. I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs. But those guys have been unreal all year long. And Thompson's been really good. And if not, Lindgren's been good. When it comes down to Carolina, I know the big Russian. I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to mess it up. But he's been decent too. Kachkov, whatever. Again, does he scare me? No. Does Freddie scare me? No, because I know he's going to crack because he's always hurt, right? So it's like, and I don't wish on anyone to get hurt. So I'm saying I like him as a goalie.
Just the reality of his career.
Just reality. I think Ovi's got them laughing and having fun. The Spencer Carberry's been awesome there. He seems like a great dude, a good coach, good friends of Bednar, right? Same background, so to speak, and I don't know. Nothing really bothers that team right now, Washington. And Tom Wilson is, you're talking about being built different. Like Tom Wilson's built different compared to the rest of the league. I don't think they have an answer for that on the other side. Chikrin has, scored, what did he score, 20 this year? I mean, whether you like him or not, he's been unbelievable. I think he scored 20. And Strome, what comeback story he's been like in his life, like, you know what I mean, from a castaway, like second over, was he second or third overall, whatever he was,
third,
top 5, third, fourth, whatever, Phoenix, never panned out, but now he's panning out like years later. Good guy to have with Ovechkin, plays the right way for him. I don't know, I mean, for me, I have nothing to back it up in a sense. Like, it's not like I'm pushing because I'm friends with, like Washington. For me, like I'm rooting for them secretly. I like them. I like to watch them. So it's like, I really wanted Montreal to beat them, but then I was impressed by the way they played. You know what I mean? And I think there's more to give for Washington right now.
Yeah, I'm of two minds about this because on one hand, some of those guys you mentioned, Tom Wilson looks fantastic in these playoffs. That's a guy who's absolutely built for playoff hockey. He's doing all the right things. Those are the types of guys you need to grind you through some series. You have a Logan Thompson who feels like is playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He supposedly loved it in Vegas, and I think feels like he needs to prove himself a little bit. So I do like that part of it too. The other side of it is Washington is getting a whole lot of career years right now. You mentioned guys like Dylan Strome, but up and down that lineup, they're getting a lot of dudes having the best year of their career. And on the one hand, you need some of that. You need to catch a little bit of a lightning in the bottle if you want to go on a cup run. On the other hand, is it sustainable? I think there are parts of this Washington lineup where it feels like eventually the luck is just going to run out. And when you put that type of team up against a team like Carolina is the team that will grind it out. Carolina is the team that will put it into the dirt and just keep working until your luck runs out. So I do think Washington might hit the wall in this series. I'm not confident in who wins this. I really do think it could go either way. Carolina long been a team that is a very well put together team, but when they really, really need a goal, who's the guy? Who's going to go get it done for them? And I can't give you a good answer.
I know, because I was thinking right away too, and I didn't think that's where you were going, but then I was like, I know where he's going, because the answer is like, I don't know, right? You know what I mean?
Yep. So
Mikko,
I think
was the name.
Well, not anymore.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why they did it, right? But
guess it has to be Stan Coven in his place then. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Don't know if I believe in that necessarily, but we can pull up the predictions for this series. AJ and I going Carolina. AJ with confidence. You're taking it the other way in 7 with the Capitals. But I do think it's interesting we both see this series going 7.
Yeah, I think it's more like I said. It's I just feel they're on a ride, on this Ovi ride with the great chase there, and got in the playoffs last year being minus a gazillion goal differential, but never been heard of. You know what I mean? Like it's like back in the '80s, and then obviously got nothing out of that first round, but it just feels that they got into this year and they've just been rolling, and they seem to have fun. They love it. You can see it in the hallway before the games, with social media. That guys are their dances and their whatever it is that they're doing. And Ovi with his bag of Doritos and Diet Coke and pizza, whatever. I mean, it's just goes everything out the window with everything else that's supposed to be, doing. So I don't know. I feel that they're big. This 21, the big kid there, what's his name? Poitras or.
Protus, yeah. Another career year guy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like they're big. So and then obviously they got Leonard now that has a motor, and I mean obviously adds a little bit of youth, and they seem to enjoy that because they haven't had really any rookies last couple of years. So they're like, oh, this is fun, a little toy. So I think they got a little bit of everything to push themselves over that second round there somewhere they haven't really been the last few years, right? So I don't think they've been there since their cup year, which was what, 18?
Mm-hmm.
Wash 18, Man, they all blend in now, but yeah, I do believe they do it. And I think Thompson's been. I'm so impressed by him too. He's been unbelievable. So
yeah,
I mean,
yep. If the streak keeps up, if they keep hot the way they have, Washington absolutely could just be the team that streaks all the way. But if the luck runs out, I just don't know that they're built to grind one out. That's my concern with them, and that's why I took Toronto or Carolina in 7. But again, if you're picking a series in 7, you're essentially saying it's a coin flip. It could go either way. So
we saw both games.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe all the weirdness got knocked out in those game 7s, though. We'll see. 8 teams remain. Give me a cup winner today.
Boy. I'm going to go. Oh, man, it's hard not to go for Stars right now. Again, feelings aside, you know what I mean? Like, feelings aside. I mean, I'm impressed by them. I've never given them kudos. Yeah. But I'm not. That's not who I'm picking. I said it's hard not to pick. Because what we just saw,
Sorry, a little jumpy.
Sorry, I'm going to go Florida Panthers.
Okay. I also would pick the Florida Panthers. So a boring panel of choices here, but that team looks so good. They obviously have the experience. It would create this weird little window where Tampa won it twice and made the cup in 3 years, and then Florida can win it twice and have made the cup in 3 years. Then you randomly had a bunch of teams in between, but that's okay. We don't need to talk about that. A bunch of teams. We had the Avs and Vegas in between. That's it. Yeah, it's obviously they play the playoffs for a reason. Any of these 8 teams could do it, but I really do think in the East, Florida stands out, and in the West, Dallas stands out. Maybe Vegas could give them a run for their money. If Edmonton wins that series, I don't see them getting through Dallas, if I'm honest with you. But
no, I agree.
We'll see.
The West will run through Dallas. I think. Just what I think. But yeah, hopefully you're playing if you're feeling good. Thanks for always being in the chat too. It's awesome. It's always fun to read it. So
obviously appreciate all y'all showing up, even though the season is over and all of that. I know everyone still wants to be mad and talk about Avs things. We will do that tomorrow. Again, McFarland's and Zach's presser will be tomorrow. We'll talk a lot more, but round 2 was kicking off today, so we did want to talk a little bit about the actual hockey going on. I don't know. Have these playoffs been really good, or is it just my perception of it? Obviously, sucks for the Avs, but you had 2 crazy game 7s in round 1. You had a bunch of pretty good series, a lot of game 6s, a lot of overtimes, a lot of craziness. It just feels like this has been a better round 1 than most years.
I think it's been crazy amazing. Honestly, I mean, talking to some national media the last couple of weeks, right, that were at the rink, and um, boy, oh boy, like it's good hockey. It's fun hockey. It's good hockey. The league is good. Players are good. Players are excited, but the playoffs are a different animal. They are like it's not for everyone. We saw it firsthand with some of the Avs guys. It's not for them. Playoffs are not for them. I'm talking about individuals. So it's
Yeah.
a different gear. 2, 3, 4, 5 gears higher. It's a lot more at stake, and you got to be able to do everything right and not let the moment get to you. And man, it's fun to watch, though. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a fan of Edmonton or Winnipeg or St. Louis last night, and you're like, are you kidding me? Like 103 years, whatever, 106 years. Like it's been done just a few times, and it's like all of a sudden it happens back to back nights. You're like, what?
Sports are dumb.
Sports are dumb. I take your line for sure. Sports are dumb, but it's so fun. It's addicting. Of course, you wish your team or the Avalanche were there or whatever. Of course, all the players wish that too. All the management wish that too. It just shows you how hard it is in this league. It's hard. It's hard to win. It's hard to be there. It's hard to make everything right. But man, I don't know. I enjoy it, and I think it's a healthy league right now. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking about their play. You know what I mean? The level of play is high, and we're only getting started. You're only getting started. This is round 2. Round 1 was sick. It's only going to get tighter and even more fun, probably even more crazy. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Looking forward.
More or less all there is to say about it, I guess. Yeah, it'll be interesting if you're looking for Avs related things. The Colorado Eagles playoffs going on right now, so you can go check that out. We already mentioned Nathan MacKinnon heading to the World Championships. If you want to watch him play a little bit against, I don't know, whatever level of competition you want to call that tournament. I'm not going to be picky on that, but there are still some.
I would be amiss to not mention the PWHL playoffs are starting soon, so you guys should also tune into that. Go Montreal.
Look, if you get a bunch of Colorado people tuning in, maybe the Colorado can get the next expansion team. All right. So go do that. They're already in Seattle now. So there's teams out west. No more excuses. They can come to Colorado. Yeah, is what it is. Obviously doesn't make the Avs season being over any easier, but it's you move forward and you see where the Avs are set up tomorrow. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got shows all week still coming for you. So make sure you keep it here at DNVR Sports on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't. We always appreciate that. That helps us a lot. If you haven't read AJ's pieces, make sure you're going and checking those out too. I don't know. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today's show?
No, I mean, looking forward to tomorrow, and like you said, we got the pressers and go and dissect a little bit more, and it's fresh. But looking forward to round 2 starting tonight, right? With Florida. It's Florida-Toronto tonight, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Florida-Toronto tonight. Should be fun.
We'll
should
see.
Be exciting. Yeah, I mean, hockey's fun. So NHL or anything else, it's fun, and it's fun to fail and try to get back to it the next year. So it's fun.
It's fun. Sometimes it doesn't feel very fun, but generally speaking, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Appreciate all the well wishes from everybody. Thank you. That's all we got, though. We'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, Avs stuff, McFarland presser. I've said it 100 times. You guys know the drill. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, and we are out.
We all silly like the mayor.